Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 and Dakota Nations territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Carrie Linklater. I'm your chairperson today. I am joined on the panel by Mr. Kent Seelan to my immediate left and my far left, Mr. Marcel Larando. Our city assessor today is Mr. Nathan Kupfer, and our admin secretary is Ms. Belen Rojo. To the participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. We will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparison of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. And as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. I could also ask everyone to make sure they have their cell phones turned off. And the first property we are going to be looking at this morning is 323 Simcoe Street.
Mr. Assessor, please state your full name.
Nathan Kupfer.
And you affirm the evidence you about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your full name. My name is Wanda. And you affirm the evidence about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Kupfer. And
Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Malika. Mr. Kupfer, if you'd like to start us off on this property, please.
Number 323 Simcoe Street, roll number 1303-2195-000. This is in the St. Matthews neighborhood area. It's a 1.5-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1905 with an effective age of 1925. A living area of 1,087 square feet, a partial basement with no basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, no air conditioning, no fireplace, no garage, and a lot size of just under 2,500 square feet. All four comparables are in the same area of St. Matthews. All four are 1.5 story dwellings, single family dwellings, just like the subject. Constructed between 1909 and 1915 with effective ages ranging, as you can see before you there. Living areas ranging from a low of 808 square feet to a high of 1,121 square feet. The basements are only partial for comparables 1 and 3, somewhat similar to the subject, while comparables 2 and 4 have full unfinished basements. All four of them have only one bathroom, which I found to be fairly typical for homes in this area around that size. Lot sizes for the four comparables range from a low of 2,329 square feet to a high of 3,300 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the four comparables range from a low of 138,200 to a high of 179,100, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $141.89 to a high of $178.09 per square foot. The property was most recently purchased in March of 2021 by the current owner. After the purchase, our department performed sales verification to update some of the characteristics, including that jump into the effective age, which brought the assessment up from, it was at 97,000 up to 125,000. And page 2 of my brief here, you'll just see the map showing the layout of the four comparable properties. Again, they're all pretty close by. So we will be recommending that the value of 125,000 be maintained today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Have any questions of what the assessor has just stated?
No, I went through all the papers.
Okay.
I don't have any questions besides that. So
You'll have a moment to present. We're just going to ask questions, but that's fine. Thank you. Mr. Larondo, did you have any questions of the assessor?
Has there been any work done on the property since they bought it in 2016?
So the 2016 purchase was from the former owners, and there was some work done in between that sale price of 105,000 up to the post-reference sale price. Both were public listings, so we were able to kind of get a feel for what had changed. The property is a rental property from as far as I can tell, or at least it was a rental property. I'm not sure how the current owner is using it. The most notable change from the 2016 sale to the 2021 sale is it looks like the exterior was redone and the front porch was opened up. In terms of the interior, I would say it's in average or slightly below average condition, as it's a rental property. There hasn't been a lot of work done to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Susan.
No questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Kupfer, just one question. You had indicated that after the sale that an inspection had been made?
No, the sales verification changes that were made just based on the public listings. Both the 2016 and 2021 sales were public with photos, so it was done all online.
Okay, thank you. Do you have copies of the MLS listing?
No, I haven't provided copies of the MLS listings in the brief.
Okay, thank you. If you would like to give us your presentation.
yeah, so I hear assessors told that I have bought this property in March this year. So the property was on sale for more than 6 months because it didn't sell. So the problem on the property, it is a rental property and I'm renting it right now. So I have a consistent compliance order from the city of Winnipeg about the roof, about that's like how it does not fit to area, about fascia, about, and I have found from the old paper that it's consistent like the roof problem, like never been touched, and it's one of the problem. The second, we have basement which are like actually going up to the knees because the foundation is old and the brick one, and so I've been actually thinking that the house probably I have no idea how to fix it. I have called 2 contractors to actually like estimate how to fix, and they said just tear it down. So regardless the work, whatever being done since the previous owner, I have no idea because we have no access to the history of whatever been done. But myself, I have faced oven tubes, so I had to replace them all because otherwise it's not insurable. So we have like a consistent flooding. Fortunately, we did have a dry summer, so it's not really, but we have to relocate everything from the basement up. We are not able to relocate the furnace itself, so it is like we have using, we've been set like a piles to lift it up because it is can cause the electrical fire damage in the case if it's lots of water. And consistent compliance from the Winnipeg about our roof that we're trying to fix, and like it is really costly. And my personal regrets about that, that's aside. But this is what it is. And by the area, we have like a few houses on the sale right now there. So one across the street, just beside our house on the 323 Simcoe, they have developed the upper, like a half story up. That's why they did set up the bathroom, second stairs. The other house just across the street, the same shape, the same size, but they didn't claim it as a 3-bedroom because they have it open consent, so we never closed that. Same square footage. They cannot sell that. They listed on 129. I have bought it for 137, but the market like this, I don't think that's actually reasonable to compare as a sale price this year because the sales unstable and market is very overpriced. So we know that what is going on the market right now, it's something crazy. So they're trying to sell it for 129. They couldn't sell it. And house plus minus the same shape. And the difference between owner occupied and rental occupied, it's always gonna be like a consistent sale. You cannot treat the rental house the same way. Since like it's no one cares about property beside myself. Like I do what I can, but I even cannot sell it the same price I want. Just technically talking, I had to perform the electrical working to make it insured. Otherwise, it's just not insurable. But I have paid my my own funds and my like to overcome, and I'm still in minus. And this is how it works. Like I understand that no one cares about, and the property is considered to be value of the market price, but actually behind the market price is something I'm paying, and I'm not even expecting to benefit from that for the next 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions?
I thought I heard the applicant say that she tried to sell it at some point, or she was thinking about trying to sell it, or was she just saying that she couldn't sell it in this condition? Could you clarify that, please?
When we actually saw the problem in the foundation, and it's impossible to fix that. So I have asked realtors to come and see, and she said like, you won't be able to sell it. Like I'll be able to sell it at the same like 130, 125 because I have made like it's clean right now, and we painted walls, so it's clean and nice. But I won't be able to make my money back. And I'm not counting on even on the water fees on top or electrical work I've done on top, and now it's insured at least.
Did you see the house prior to purchasing it?
Yeah, sure.
So you did a walkthrough of the home and you were aware of the condition when you purchased it?
Yes, I do, but I'm not an electrician. And the basement at that moment was like normal.
Okay.
And I never saw the complaint. And actually, my personal opinion, but I don't know how city bylaw working on the roof. I never saw compliance like that before. Like this is the compliance. And it says like roof must be kept in good repair. The obligation suspension includes the obligation to ensure that fascia, board, soffits, corners, flashing, and downspouts and maintain in water-like condition. Like, I'm not the roofer, and whatever I was buying the property, so it looks like it has a roof, and the roof is like a 15 years old. That's all I can tell. And when they started to, when I asked for a quote for insurance, so they started about knob and tubes, and I asked to electrician to come in and say me, okay, what is the electrical here? So he confirmed that the upstairs, the second unit, whatever they built with the second bath, has update electrical, and the rest knob and tubes, and it's not insurable.
Okay. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any further questions?
Do you have insurance for the home?
Right now, yes, because we've done electrical, we removed all the knob and tubes.
Okay.
And house been rewired.
Okay, and do you currently have renters in the home?
Yes, it's been rented since October 1st.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Thank you.
No questions.
Mr. Seaton.
What was the cost of upgrade to the electrical?
Electrical, they charged me almost 9,000. I have a receipt if you like to see. And it does not include repatching, or like I did repatching myself, because they open it walls, they open up, they didn't touch floors, but they open ceilings, and like all the house, whatever been initially built without the additional unit up, like on the half floor, all been redone.
As an engineer assessed basement?
I don't have an assessment. They came, they said like, you better tear it down because we won't be able to fix that. So the basement itself, when you come inside, you actually kind of, they put some sort of like a drywall to keep all the rocks falling inside the basement. So now it's kind of, they add initial cost to support the structure. When the spring came, so we started seeing the dwelling itself is shifting, so it's not level as it should be. So we have to put it a bit down because it's developed hump in the middle of the house. And then whatever the water started coming, that's we figure out, okay, we have a problem. And they said, okay, what happened in here? Because the foundation does not support the dwelling itself already, because it's too close with the building of the neighbors, and the water is just coming non-stop from their downspout, from that house downspout. We have redone downspout recently to keep the water aside, but like it's impossible to fix, and even like they have no access to digging in between the walls, because this is the like less than feet and a half between houses. Like I can fit myself there.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair?
Thank you. And I have no questions. And so thank you very much for your presentation this morning, and thank you for coming. Yes, yeah, you can leave. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too, thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes, you too.
Thank you. And the next property will be 166 Home Street.
She's attending by Zoom.
Okay.
Madam applicant, would you please state your full name?
Molly Schaefer.
And you affirm the evidence you about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Morning, Ms. Schaefer.
Hello.
Mr. Kupfer, if you'd like to take us through this property.
Number 166 Home Street, roll number 1208-256-1000. This is in the Wolseley neighborhood area. It's a 1 3/4 story single family dwelling constructed in 1929. With an effective age of 1944, living area of 1,376 square feet. It does have a full basement with basement finish, 1 4-piece and 1 3-piece bath. It does not have central air conditioning, but it does have a fireplace and a single detached garage, a lot size of just over 3,300 square feet, and a commercial adjacent influence. That's an apartment building back, I believe, on the other side of the back lane, back behind the building. It's a 4-story apartment building. Comparables 1 through 4, all in the Wolseley area. A range of 1.5 story and 2 stories. They're more common than 1 3/4 stories. Year built for the 4 comparables ranging from a low of 1923 to 1947, all with some effective age increase. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,290 square feet to a high of 1,576 square feet, all with full basements with at least some basement finish similar to the subject. All have 2 bathrooms similar to the subject. Comparables 2 and 3 have air conditioning, while comparables 1 and 4 do not, and all have a single detached garage with the exception of comparable number 3. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables, again, all pretty close, ranging from a low of 3,013 square feet to a high of 3,903 square feet. And our sale prices for the 4 comparables ranging from a low time-adjusted sale price ranging from a low of $331,200 to a high of $378,000, or a time-adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $239.85 to a high of $257.14. The property was most recently purchased by the current owner through an associated sale in April of 2020. So if you scroll down my brief here on page 2, you'll see the map, and then page 3 is our sales mailer that we use for sending out for private sales generally. So I've stricken the post-reference sale price, but the rest of the information is just a description filled out by the homeowner of essentially the condition of the home and any add-ons or changes that might have occurred. Based on the sales mailer, sales verification change was done. There was an increase for the property from $294,000 to $348,000, which included adding a deck, adding a shower, increasing the amount of basement finish, increasing the effective age a bit there, and removing an old carport that we used to have on the property record that's no longer there. The 2021 assessments, again, after that sales verification change, set at $348,000 or $252.91 per square foot, which is what we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Schaefer, did you have any questions for the assessor on the evidence he has just presented?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Laranda.
No questions.
On the land influences, what is the commercial adjacent?
It's an apartment building behind the subject. So if you look at the map on page 2, you can see the square behind the yellow subject there is a bigger one. That's, I believe it's a 4-story apartment building, probably around 20 or so units. That's giving the commercial influence. It's back on the other side of the back lane behind the home.
Have you inspected this home yourself?
I have not, no.
No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, the renovations that were done, I assume you're taking that from an MLS listing?
No, the sale was private. So rather than going through an MLS listing, we use our sales mailer. That's page 3 there. which describes some of the upgrades done to the home and the approximate age. So if you go to page 2 of the sales mailer, it'll show you that the wiring and the panel have been redone. The bathrooms and the kitchen have been redone, and some of the flooring has been redone. The roof approximately 11 to 15 years old. That the basement is about 80% finished. So based on that, there's a small increase to the effective age. The amount of the basement finish was increased. I guess we only had partial or a fraction of the basement as being finished, so we increased that. And then we added the approximately 280 square foot deck as well. So it was all done based on the sales mailer, not through an MLS listing.
Thank you. Ms. Schaefer, if you'd like to give us your presentation.
Yes. So as was previously stated, I purchased this home privately in April of 2020 for $330,000. At that time, it was assessed at $294,000, and I was told the property taxes would be calculated based off that assessment. In this July of 2021, I received notice that the assessment of my house was being adjusted to $348,000, which was based solely on that paper survey that I was asked to fill out. No assessor came to my property, to my knowledge, to see the actual state of the house or the state of the improvements done by previous owners. The work that needs to be done that I was aware of when I purchased the house is new windows for the entire house, shingles need to be replaced, the house is not insulated, the siding needs to be redone. The basement refinish that was done by previous owners was done quickly and already needs to be redone. As I stated in the survey, the basement finish is inferior to the finish of the rest of the house. The chimney had to be rebuilt this summer to prevent collapse, and the detached garage needs a new roof, siding, door, and garage door. In regards to the comparable properties, my property is located not only next to a commercial apartment block, but also directly next to a business, the Tallgrass Prairie Bakery. This causes high traffic around my home and often leads to my garage being blocked by delivery vehicles, and one side of my backyard is overlooked by a 2-story side of the business. My property also has the 4-story apartment block, which was stated. The windows of the apartment block look directly at all west-facing windows on my property, including the bathroom and 1 bedroom. This also means my backyard has an apartment block on one side and the bakery on the other. None of the other comparable properties are located directly by apartment buildings and or businesses. With Wolseley Avenue being closed to vehicle traffic since 2020, Westminster, the street that is directly next to my property or one property away, has had significantly higher volumes of traffic. None of the comparable properties are located as closely to Westminster. For the first year I lived in the house, I was also on the number 10 bus route. None of the comparable properties are located on bus routes. When I received the notice of reassessment in July, I was very surprised to see that the city would also be charging me supplementary tax all the way back to June 2020. Since my possession of the house in May of 2020, the only improvement completed was the chimney. I am asking that the board please reevaluate and lower the assessment of my property from $348,000 due to the significant improvements that need to be done, the high traffic street, business, and apartment block adjacent, and the fact that for the year they would have charged me supplementary tax, I was also living on the bus route.
Thank you. Mr. Cupford, did you have any questions?
I don't have any questions, no.
Thank you. Mr. Lorando?
What were you requesting for your value?
I would suggest the price that I paid for it, $330,000.
Further questions?
What did you spend on fixing the chimney?
It was just under $5,000, 400 something. I have the receipt somewhere.
Thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Schaefer, I understand that the previous owners have put some work in the upgrades. You had already mentioned that the basement was inferior.
Yeah.
Can you shed some light on that for us?
So the improvements that were done on this house, now I know the history a little bit. It was purchased by people I know vaguely, not well, who did a number of renovations on the house and then privately sold it to a family member. And that family member is the person I purchased the house from. So the majority of the renovations done on the house were done 2 owners ago. And from what I can see, clearly not disclosed to the city, which is why now suddenly there's a big jump in the assessment. So I believe that the kitchen and the bathroom were redone by 2 owners ago, and the most recent owners, so that would have been just over 10 years ago. The most previous owners did a very quick renovation to the basement when they bought the house. They told me they spent about $2,000 finishing the basement, so it's a very low finish, but they just needed some extra living space. So yes, there were quick renovations that now need to be redone. I need to pull the flooring out and replace many of the things that were put down there.
Sorry, I'm just going to interrupt you. Could you just explain what materials were used in the basement or how it is inferior?
I think it was most of the materials that were used were reused from other places, not new materials were used. The drywall and the laminate flooring in that takes up about maybe 50% of the basement space can stay as is, but the laminate floor that was put in and the cupboards and storage that they put in were all used materials that are falling apart. And they also covered the floor drain, which has caused some plumbing issues in the basement, and that all needs to be torn up.
Do you have an estimate for that?
I don't have an exact estimate. No, sorry.
Okay. And some work had been done in the kitchen also?
Yes, I believe around 10, maybe slightly more than 10 years ago, 2 owners ago redid the kitchen.
So it has new cupboards, new appliances?
It has, yes, so 10-year-old appliances and cupboards. The cupboards are starting to wear quite a bit and will probably need to have some replacement. The appliances seem to still be in rather good shape.
Do you have granite countertops?
No.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Thank you for your time.
Okay.
Thank you for appearing this morning.
Thank you.
And next is 83 Cunningham Avenue. Sue?
Not here to be there.
Lost one?
Sorry?
We lost one?
Well, his phone is on. He's just not there. Hello, Mr. Trudeau, can you hear us? There you are. Okay, it is your turn to present.
Beautiful.
Okay, I'm gonna affirm your presentation first. Please state your full name.
My full name, I guess, as it shows, is David Jeffrey D.C. Trudeau.
And do you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Good morning, Mr. Trudeau. Our city assessor, Mr. Kupfer, is going to go first. Mr. Kupfer, if you'd like to proceed.
Number 83 Cunnington Avenue, roll number 0800126400. This is in the Elm Park neighborhood area. It's a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1949, currently with no effective age assigned to the property. A living area of 792 square feet, a full basement with basement finish, and 2 full bathrooms, according to our records. No central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a detached single garage. A lot size of just over 5,000 square feet with a school nearby. Comparables 1 through 4, all close by in the Elm Park area. All one-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1925 and 1949. Living areas ranging from a low of 736 square feet to a high of 916 square feet. All have at least some basement finish. All are 2 baths, similar to the subject. All have air conditioning, while according to our records, the subject does not. And none of them have fireplaces, with the exception of comparable number 4. And comparables 1, 2, and 3 all have the single detached garage, similar to the subject, while number 4 does not. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of 5,200 square feet to a high of just over 6,000 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of 258,000 to a high of 286,000, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $305.90 to a high of $350.54 per square foot. The subject property was purchased privately, similar to the last property, in March 2021. However, in this case, the owner did not respond to our sales mailer. So no adjustment was made based off of the sale. The $286,000 was the same as it was prior to the purchase. Page 2 of our brief here shows the layout of the comparables. Again, all very close by. Our 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $286,000 for $361.11 per square foot. And that's what we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Trudeau, do you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple of questions, actually. So with respect to the sale that just happened, obviously in March 2021, you guys were aware of the sale. So did you pull title or look through what that transacted for?
That was the purpose of the sales mailer that we sent you,
Okay.
which to confirm the characteristics and the information about the home.
So how did you guys know that it sold without pulling title or seeing something go through?
All sales that go through Manitoba Land Titles go through our office as well.
Okay, and there would have been the registered sale price on that though, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you guys would know that the property transacted for $220,000?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. With respect to the comparables, were these pulled from the MLS, or was this, how did you guys find the research?
The sales aren't all necessarily from MLS. They'll be, again, through Manitoba Land Titles. Most of them are go through MLS, not all of them will.
Okay, so because I took a look, obviously, when I received this yesterday, all comparables 1 through 4. So all these were listed on the MLS. They're open public sales. So I took a look through to kind of see, okay, where do these match up? All 4 of these properties were, if not substantially renovated, had a lot of renovations done to them. Have you guys inspected the property at 83 Cunnington at all, or were aware of like outside interior or anything like that?
For your property?
Yeah.
No, we don't have any recent inspections. That was the purpose of the sales mailer.
Okay, gotcha. So were these ones, I just wanted to know, did you pull these from MLS or were they just from the land titles, the comparables?
I guess through Manitoba Land Titles, and then the process generally is once they come up on our comparable sales sheets, then I'll go on MLS after that to verify that the information is actually correct with what we got through Manitoba Land Titles. And then if it seems like a good comparable, it'll go on the sheet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you. Mr. Larondo, do you have any questions?
Not yet. Go to,
Mr. Seaman?
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I have no questions at this time. Mr. Trudeau, if you'd like to give us your presentation, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I submitted, obviously, the property was purchased privately in February of, March 2021, at which time appraisal was required for the acquisition and the financing of the property, which I've submitted into the city, where you guys will see that the purchase price was the exact value of that certified appraisal of $220,000. If you've gone through the appraisal, you'll note that this home definitely is, you know, I don't know how to word this, but not superior to these other properties. Are really comparable in terms of, you know, the home has no AC, no furnace. Actually, it was a baseboard heat ever. There was foundations with the property. It was realistically, I mean, it was elderly owned and needed a substantial amount of work. Whereas when you look at all these other comparable properties, I pulled them up on the MLS yesterday, and they were all renovated, you know, new kitchens, new bathrooms, flooring, substantially upgraded. You know, and this property, again, we had it appraised, right? So I think the appraisal says it all, that it's $220,000, and that's what it was just transacted for. So no doubt that that's what it should be assessed at. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, questions?
Did the appraiser come out and inspect the property?
They did, yeah. Yeah, and as noted in the appraisal, there's photos of that.
In February 2021, prior to the purchase?
Correct.
Okay. And then the comparable sales that were used here are all recent sales from 2020 or 2021, it looks like?
Yeah, on the appraisal, yeah.
Okay. Have you made any changes to the property since taking possession?
We have started doing some renovations to it because it's obviously, it was inhabitable, in my opinion.
Okay. How were you made aware of the property? How did the purchase happen?
The purchase was made through a family member. It was my grandmother, hence why we actually got the appraisal prior to, just so that there was no, you know, I don't know if you want to say funny business, but just making sure that we were paying fair market value for the property.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Larondo, questions?
oh, you got it.
Mr. Seaman?
What type of heating do you have in the home?
I don't think he heard you.
I'm sorry, what type of heating do you have in your home?
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you there.
No worries. What type of heating? How is your house heated?
It was baseboard heat.
Throughout the whole home?
Yeah, throughout the whole home.
Thank you very much. That's all my questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. So, Mr. Trudeau, you said earlier that the house you felt was inhabitable, and are you living there then?
I'm not, no.
So it is not occupied?
Not occupied right now, no. The anticipation is to, but you know, we couldn't as is.
Okay. So
I didn't want to.
oh, all right. So I'm just confirming then it's also not being used as a rental?
No, not at all.
All right. And there is actually no furnace in the home?
Not when I purchased it, no. The plan is to put a furnace in there, but when we purchased it, and for the past, I think, 30 years, there was no furnace. The craziest thing.
Okay. So you said you have started some work, and what work is that, and is it completed?
It's not completed, no, and it is going to be. It's a retrofit of the home, obviously, to bring it up to today's standards, and you know, somewhere that you want to live. So it'll be a complete renovation.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last part.
Oh. It will be a complete renovation by the time it's done.
Okay, and how long are you anticipating that to be?
Well, I mean, I would love to say in the next couple months, but it's probably going to push into next year.
Okay. And do you have a budget?
Yeah, about 100,000.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all my questions. And thank you for appearing this morning.
Thank you very much, guys.
And our next property is 16 Elm Park Road.
Also on Zoom.
Okay. And thank you for appearing this morning.
Thank you very much, guys.
Would you please turn off your YouTube player? Okay, I'm going to affirm your presentation now. Please state your full name.
Christine Teehee.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Morning, Miss Teehee. Mr.
Morning.
Cupler, if you'd like to start us off on this property, thank you.
Number 16 Elm Park Road, roll number 0800129600. This is in the Elm Park neighborhood area. It's a 1.5-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1940 with an effective age of 1945, so mostly original. Our living area, 1,326 square feet. It has a full basement with at least some basement finish, a full bath, a half bath, a shower, central air conditioning, and a detached multi-garage, and an in-ground pool. Lot size of 5,315 square feet. 4 comparables, all in the Elm Park area as well, all 1.5-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1925 and 1949. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,189 square feet to a high of 1,458 square feet. Comparables 1, 3, and 4 have full basements, while comparable 2 is only a partial area there. All have at least some basement finish, with the exception of comparable 3. All have 2 bathrooms, again with the exception of comparable 2, which has 3 bathrooms. And only comparables 1 and 3 have air conditioning, similar to the subject. And comparable 2, as you'll see, has no detached garage. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of $282,800 to a high of $331,000, or time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $201.23 to a high of $261.74. The property was most recently purchased by the current owner in August of 2020, so another post-reference sale here. Page 2 of my brief, you'll see is our map showing the outline of the comparable sales here. So you can see the house is just a couple properties removed from St. Mary's. However, those properties on St. Mary's there are residential, so there's no commercial influence or anything like that as far as I can tell for the property. The 2022 assessment is currently set at $320,000 or $241.33 per square foot, which is what we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. And did you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Larondo?
No.
Mr. Seaman?
No questions, Madam Chair.
I have no questions. If you'd like to give us your presentation, please.
Okay, good morning. Just looking at other sales of the home and ones around me, there are much lower than what the assessment value is. I purchased a house for 300,000, and everything that has sold before that has been lower price than actual asking price. The air conditioner is the original air conditioner, which will need to be replaced, and pool equipment was all original and also has to be replaced. And the biggest factor of the assessment of the home is the pool. It is not a selling factor for most people looking to buy a new home.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions?
I have no questions, thank you.
Mr. Larondo?
I think she's answered them for me.
Mr. Smith?
Give a quotation for the cost of air conditioner replacement.
I have not, no.
No.
The previous owners had left behind a portable air conditioner that I used this summer.
Okay, so is it portable or is it?
It just plugs into the wall. It's just a stand-up one.
So it's just a portable?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. That's a question, Chair.
Thank you. So you're not currently using your air conditioning at all?
It does, yeah, it does, but it doesn't, it needs to be replaced. It does give up some air, but not to combat our summer this year.
Okay. And in regards to your pool, you said that the equipment needed to be replaced, or is it the pool itself?
The equipment.
And have you done any further upgrades to the home since you purchased it?
I have not.
None. Okay. And what are you looking today for your assessment to be?
I'd like to see it brought down to 300,000.
Okay. I have no further questions, and thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you.
And we are just going to take a 5-minute recess.
I'm gonna take a what?
5-minute recess.
Oh, sounds good.
And I'd like to call this meeting back to order. And our next property is 97 Strand-Millis Avenue.
There was no one in attendance for this property, in person or absent.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, I'll have you read into the roll.
Address 97 Strand-Millis Avenue, roll number 08081222275. This is in the Glenwood neighborhood area. It's a bi-level single-family dwelling constructed in 2016. 911 square feet of living area. It has a full basement with basement finish and a 3 full bathrooms. It has air conditioning, no garage, and a lot size of just over 2,500 square feet. 4 comparables, all in the Glenwood area, all bi-levels, constructed fairly new between 2016 and 2017, so very similar to the subject. All have full basements. Only comparable number 3 has the basement finish and the 3rd bathroom there, which makes it similar to the subject property. All have air conditioning with the exception of comparable number 1, and none of them have garages at the times of these sales. Regarding the sale prices here, you'll see the values are all a little bit wonky, our sale prices. It's because they're first-time sales. So this is what comes through Manitoba land titles. It's essentially had the GST backed out of it. So the actual price paid by the owners would be 5% higher than all of what these listed numbers are. That being said, our time-adjusted sale prices, again, not including the GST, range from a low of $295,200 to a high of $319,000, or a time-adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $313 per square foot to a high of $324.68 per square foot. Page 2 of my brief, you can see the layout and the map and the layout. Comparable number 1, 95 Strand-Millis, is the adjacent property As far as I can tell, it's nearly identical property, with the exception of it doesn't have the basement finish and the third bathroom, or at least it didn't at the time of this August 2016 sale. And even at that time, it sold for a time adjusted $295,000, again without the basement finish or the extra bathroom. So I believe our 2022 assessment is well supported at $303,000 or $332.60 per square foot, and that's what I'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kaplan. We will move on to 70 Champlain Street.
Our 2022.
Good morning, Ms. Barr.
Good morning.
Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start.
Looking to swear in.
Oh, right. Sorry. Yes, swear in. Thank you.
Madam applicant, please state your full name.
Crystal Barr.
Thank you. And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, now, Mr. Kupfer. Thank you.
70 Champlain Street, roll number 0608175300. We are now in the Norwood East neighborhood area. This is a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1952, with an effective age of 1972 applied, a living area of 1,248 square feet. It does have a full basement with some basement finish, 1.5 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a single detached garage. And it's on a bit of a larger lot at just about 7,200 square feet. For comparables, all in the Norwood East area, all one-story single-family dwellings constructed around the same time between 1952 and 1953. Comparable number 1 has some effective age being applied similar to the subject, while the other 3 do not. All have at least some basement finish, with the exception of comparable number 2. All have 2 bathrooms, again with the exception of comparable number 2. There's no basement finish, so there's no bathroom down there. And all have central air conditioning, again with the exception of comparable number 2. And all 4 have detached garages. Comparable number 1 is a little bit larger. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables range from a low of 4,857 square feet to a high of 5,038 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of $279,500 to a high of $347,100, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $264.18 to a high of $316.12. The property was purchased most recently by the current owner in April of 2021. It was a good public sale on MLS. Looks like a sales verification adjustment was made, increasing the assessment from $324,000 to $364,000 based on that listing and the characteristics that were shown. Page number 2 of the brief again shows the map. Everything is actually on the same street. There was lots of sales on Champlain to go from, so I kept it all as close by as I could. The big difference here being that, of course, comparable number 1 has seen a significant amount of upgrades, while comparables 2, 3, and 4 have not. So the 2021 assessment for the current subject property set at $364,000 or $291.67 per square foot, which we will be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kupfer. Ms. Barr, did you have any questions of what the assessor has
So when I got a reassessment for 364, it was noted here interior alteration. So I just had a question on what they mean by interior alterations.
Sure. So that is a bit of a vague term for sure. Typically, things like interior alterations would include new flooring or a renovated kitchen, paint, that sort of thing.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that all your questions?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Laronda?
Nope, covered.
Mr. Seelan?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Okay. And I have no questions at this time. Ms. Barr, if you'd like to give us your presentation, please.
Okay, so good morning. I'd just like to thank you all for your time this morning. So I got possession of this property in April of 2021 during the crazy pandemic. So I received my assessed value of that house at that time as $324. Then on August 19th, I received a reassessment for $364, noting interior alterations. So I included, I'm not sure if you received the attached property disclosure that I received from the original owners who we purchased the house from. They own this house for 10 years. In the property disclosure, they indicated no to alterations or improvements of the property. So at that time, I was unaware of any interior alterations that were done. And if, like from what this house has, from what I can see, the original kitchen, it's laminate flooring. It's old. There's also laminate flooring, which needs to be replaced. There's several, chip marks throughout the flooring, and I can hear, we don't need an alarm system because I can hear him coming down the hallway by the squeaking of the floors. As well as, the kitchen cupboards, every time you open them, they're the original kitchen. Yeah, the cupboards squeak. It's an older kitchen. It's never been done. And so if we look at interior alterations, my argument is it's a older house. There's no new kitchen, there's no new flooring, and the original even soffit and fascia need to be replaced. We're close to St. Mary's. We're one of the closest houses. If you look at the comparable that they provided for the listings, we're the closest to St. Mary's. So we have a lot of traffic coming from St. Mary's on our street, as well as the noise. There's also a auto body shop that we're closest to as well. So my argument today is I was unaware of any interior alterations. I feel that the assessed value of the house should be kept at $324 instead of $364. Based on the house, its original kitchen, the flooring's old, the garage is original, and from what I can see, it's old. What else did I want to say?
The washroom downstairs is original too. So the green toilet, green metal sink.
Yeah. It's like you can see that it's right original. And yeah, I feel that the assessment should be kept at $324 instead of $364 because I was unaware of any interior alterations. You can see by the property disclosure, the owners stated they didn't do any interior alterations. I bought the house based on that. And, we're a young family. We during this pandemic, we had to buy a house, and we did. We had to, we had to find something in this crazy market. So I just feel like we could use a break.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kupfer, any questions?
Were you able to see the house before you purchased it? Did you get to do a walkthrough?
So we got to do a walkthrough with our realtor, and
It was rushed.
I mean,
We didn't have much time.
that's true. We didn't have much time. So we maybe saw the house for a good 10 minutes probably at the most.
Okay, and you kept saying that the kitchen was original, but the photo that I'm looking at here looks like it has a newer backsplash, newer countertops, a newer range hood. It's maybe the cabinets that are still original, is that correct?
Yeah, the cabinets.
Possibly,
the
yeah.
stove, the dishwasher, it's all very old and outdated.
Yeah, we're not talking about granite countertops either, and yeah, and I don't know how long that countertop is.
Okay.
You know.
And the newer flooring here, you're saying that's vinyl, the wood looking flooring there, that's not real wood?
Oh, that's cheap laminate. Yeah, it's already all coming apart. It's they did a very bad job on it.
Yeah, like I could even show you on the video here. There's big chunks that are missing from the flooring.
Okay, in the listing, they also say there's a newer high efficiency furnace. Do you know the approximate age of the furnace?
No, but that does look nice.
That part looks nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they also list updated windows. You know approximately how old the windows are.
I'm guessing. The windows are nice too. I'm guessing in the last 10 years.
Hard to say. Yeah, the windows like that they do look good.
Okay, and then you're saying that the basement bathroom is still original, but the main floor bathroom has been updated. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. But the main floor bathroom does show its age already. We have to redo the grout, and some of the tiles have cracks in them already. So
it's hard to say when the bathroom was done. Like
probably 8 years ago or something.
Yeah, if we were to guess, it could be 10
years.
Yeah, it could be 10 years.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Miranda?
One thing, going over that statement, they said the fireplace was decommissioned. It's not working, the fireplace, or has it been removed?
That's right. It's not in working order. They've capped it. I guess they had water coming in, and I can see a little bit of the marks where the water was coming in. So I guess they put a cap on top of the chimney. So we can't use it at this point.
Yeah, it's decommissioned.
Excuse me, I'm just going to ask everybody to stop here right now. Mr. Barr, you need to be sworn in if you're going to be speaking at this hearing. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
It's Rial Aquin.
And you affirm to represent the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead and answer the question.
Oh yeah, so the chimney, you can see marks of water damage, and so it looks like they had water coming in, and so they've capped the chimney on the top. They put a metal cap on it, so we can't use the fireplace at this point.
Are you planning on removing the fireplace, or are you going to try and put it back in its condition later?
I guess we'd have to look into insurance, whether the insurance would skyrocket if it's beyond our means to pay more insurance and stuff to have a functional fireplace. Then we won't be opening up or seeing how much it costs to get it functional again.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Did you say the cabinets, the kitchen cabinets were new? I'm sorry, can you hear me? Did you say that the kitchen cabinets were new or newer?
No, they're the original cabinets.
Original?
Yeah, like every time you open them, they squeak. They're the original, which part of me I kind of like, but at the same time, it's definitely I wouldn't say that it would increase the value of the house at all.
Thank you, appreciate it. No more further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Barr, are you saying original 1952 to when the house was built?
Oh yeah.
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah, they're built in place. They are definitely the original cabinets. We can actually just walk over there and show you guys.
Yeah, if you guys want, I can. You can probably hear the squeaking too.
No.
Yeah, I'll just walk you over.
You're taking us to the kitchen. Here we go.
Yeah. So these are not sure if you can see, these are the original.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the original. That's all old.
Yeah, that's the original cabinets. But yeah, and even the floor here, you can see there's chips in the floor. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's no drawers. The functionality is not like a new kitchen.
Yeah.
And have you, so since you've purchased this home, which was in April, have you done any work on it? You were talking, I think I heard you talking about bathrooms at one point.
Oh, the washroom downstairs is still original too. It still has that hospital green toilet and the green metal sink, which is all corroded and rusted. So, and it's got the old green tile. So definitely, it's some of the big ticket items. I would say like the kitchen and the washroom downstairs we're not done, and so it looks really good on the MLS. But we still have to put a lot of money into some big ticket items.
Okay. But you mentioned one of the bathrooms had been redone.
Yes, the upstairs washroom has been redone, but I'm guessing it's 10 years old now, so we still have to redo the, I'm gonna have to figure out if I can redo the grout and fix some of the broken tiles. And, but otherwise, yeah, the upstairs washroom is nice.
Okay. And you stated that the garage was original, 1952?
The garage is a real mess. It's the original single car garage, which they've added a carport to it, which then they decide to enclose, and then they decide to try to put another garage door in there. So then they weren't able to do that. Therefore, they cut the rafters to get more headroom and move the rafters to the top of the old garage. And yeah, it's just an absolute mess. So it's pretty much a single car garage with a one car garage addition with a bunch of leftover kind of, it's really piecemeal together.
It almost looks like he used some recycled stuff and matched.
It's actually freezer panels for the walls. It's old freezer panels. I guess he worked in the freezer business, including our fence. Actually, it's all old freezer panels. It's actually pretty funny. But yeah, the garage is a real mess.
It's yeah. So with all of these things, I that's why I was kind of shocked when I saw interior alterations and the values getting assessed more, and that would make our property higher value amongst all the other properties that they've compared us to. We're the highest, and yet
we're the closest to the commercial influence, which is St. Mary's and the apartment buildings there, and the tire shop or the mechanic shop there. And so we get lots more.
Sorry, I just want to go back to the garage for a moment. Do you use the garage?
Yeah, we do use it. Yeah, I stiffened it up with some. When we first bought the place, it looked like it was going to fall over. So I did add some plywood to try to add some strength to it so that it'll...
Some support so
that it stays up for until we can find the money to repair it properly.
And so you are looking for a value of $324,000?
Yeah, I would like it to stay at $324,000, which is what I believe the original owners of the property had. We didn't do any renovations, and I was unaware of any interior alterations. And when you look at, like I said, all these other things, the kitchen, it hasn't been updated.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we will move on to 154 Seine.
Morning.
So we are moving on to 154 Seine Street, and if you would like to swear in.
Yeah, Mr. Applicant, please state your full name. And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Morning, Madam Chair.
If you would like to start us off, Mr. Kupfer.
154 Saint Street, roll number 0608078000. This is in the Norwood East neighborhood area. It's a two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 2006 with 2,934 square feet of living area. Has a full basement with basement finish, 4 bathrooms, central air, 2 fireplaces, a detached multi-garage, and a sunroom. A lot size of 18,567 square feet, and it is on the Seine River. The 3 comparables provided are all river adjacent properties as well, all fairly newly built, with the exception of comparable number 1, which is an older home and then basically taken down to the bones and then rebuilt. The neighborhoods are spread out quite a bit, as again, I was trying to find other river properties that are fairly new and in the same size and also 2 stories. So they are all 2 stories with effective ages ranging from between 2001 and 2010. Living area ranging from a low of 2,485 square feet to a high of 2,692 square feet. Comparables 2 and 3 have full basements with basement finish, while comparable 1 is a part area with no basement finish. All between 3 and 4 bathrooms with central air conditioning. A varying amount of fireplaces, as you see before you, and all with larger garages. Comparable number 1 is built in, while 2 and 3 are attached, and none of them have a sunroom on record. Again, all 3 comparables are adjacent to the water. So comparable 1 is on the Red River, comparable 2 is on the Seine, and comparable number 3 is Assiniboine adjacent. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of $745,000 up to $820,000, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $276.75 per square foot to a high of $316.97 per square foot. Page 2 of the brief here will show your map, just how spread out here our comparables are. Comparables number 1 and 2 are the closest by, while comparable number 3 is kind of way out there in Charleswood area. The property was purchased privately in post-reference in August of 2020, according to our records. It was listed on MLS for, I think, well over a year, and then eventually it was pulled, and then the transaction came through after that. And since purchasing the property, a permit was pulled, I believe, for interior alterations. Approximately $40,000 with a description to add a new bathroom and put walls in to close off a reading area. And I'm not sure if that work has yet been completed. So we are currently sitting at $823,000 for the 2022 assessment, or $280.50 per square foot, and that's what we'll be recommending at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions for the assessor?
Is this where I talk about the comparables?
Yes, you can go ahead.
A question, I guess, from the beginning. All of the other ones that I've sat here for today had 4 comparables, and this one has 3. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, it's a fairly unique property, and comparables are fairly hard to come by for this size, this story, and this location, and also being river adjacent.
Okay. These properties that you have as comparables, as you mentioned, they're quite spread out, right? It looks like primarily they were picked for the size, the size of the house and the size of the property, as well as the river influence, as you said. These kind of houses, 2-story houses, fairly high number of bedrooms. Primarily, I'd say that the target market, the highest value of these houses would be families. Was any kind of consideration given to the proximity to schools or the crime in the area or anything like that?
Crime in the area, proximity to schools, not so much. Our assessment model is built off of comparable sales within the same area. So, for example, if there was a significant amount of crime in a certain area, then the sale prices in that area would reflect that, and our assessments would also reflect that. But as far as I know, there's no significant factor for crime or schools for this property.
So if they were in the same area, but the comparable properties are nowhere near the same area.
I would say comparable number one is somewhat in the same area.
Not, I think that's a different area code per se. But and then the second question would be, yes, they're all riverfront properties. That's correct. But I would argue that the Seine River, which was dry totally for most of the summer this year, is not really comparable to the Red River and the Assiniboine River. The Lyndale property, for example, backs onto the world's longest skating rink. There's no such thing on the Seine River. And I mean, the usability of the river, of course, is totally different, right? As well, with these comparables, was any kind of consideration given to the average value of the neighborhoods or the kind of houses that are surrounding it, the kind of proximity setting of the house?
No, not so much. The surrounding properties would have their own assessments. They don't have much of a bearing on these.
Okay. So I have, after I received those last night, the comparables, some, I guess, just to use as a gauge of, I guess, what the house I'm talking about is surrounded by in terms of the property values and that versus the comparables that you gave. The house that, for example, I guess we'll start with the one on Lyndale. It's next to one, just for assessment value, just for estimation here, 750,000 on one side, 411 on the other side. Across the street, there's some valued at 750, 400. If we look at the one on Oak Forest Crescent, which is, I believe, outside the perimeter in Headingley and an estate type lot, backing onto the Assiniboine River, 50% bigger than the lot of ours. It's next to a house, 1.28, I think that says million in assessed value. The one on the other side, 770,000. If we look at the John Bruce house, it's next to one 668. The one on the other side is over 1 million. Across the street, there are some in the 400s, or all in the 400s or 500s. And that house is 3 doors down from, I believe it's the house that Peter Nygaard was proposing to use as his bail house, which was quoted in the media as a mansion, a $1 million mansion. And if we compare that to the neighborhood that 154 Seine Street is in, it on one side of the house, one neighbor is valued at 367. The one on the other side's valued at 491. Those are on the river as well, the Seine River. Across the street, we have some 171, 191, 260. So totally different kind of setting in terms of the neighborhood that they're in. From that perspective as well. So no consideration was given to that kind of thing.
No, again, the surrounding value of the surrounding properties wouldn't have a direct impact on the City of Winnipeg assessment. And then the other thing is your direct neighbor here is a vacant City of Winnipeg lot. It's green space, is it not, here for 154 Seine Street?
On the one side, yeah, there's a slightly kept field owned by the city.
Right, so I'd say if anything, that would be a desirable influence, not a negative influence, right?
Sure. Across the street from the one on Lyndale that you mentioned is also a city green space. Behind the one on John Bruce that you gave is a city green space on the river. And the one on in Headingley there on Oak Forest is the river behind one side and a green space across the street there. So I think we're equivalent there.
Perfect.
And then I guess if we're going to talk about, so back to my point, I guess, about the crime and the proximities from the school. So again, I think that it's primarily a house that would have the highest value to families, such as my own. The one on Lyndale, 500 meters from elementary school. The one on John Bruce, for example, I think it was 800 meters or so from the elementary school. We are significantly further, about twice as far as or 3 times as far as the Lyndale one, twice as far as the other one. The kids have to ride the bus, that kind of thing. In terms of crime, from the Winnipeg Police crime map that was mentioned or posted on the city website, the crimes in the Oak Forest Crescent for the period that was shown on that site was 5 versus 28, where Seine Street is. For the period that's on the website. For the John Bruce one, it was 8 versus 28 crimes. So I mean, we're talking multiples here, 3 or 4 times as much crime. And then the river setting. So yeah, it's on a river. Like I said, it's not really a usable river. It's can't see it from the house. It provides no scenic benefit. It's kind of marshy behind the house. There's not really access. There's no public access. So unlike the Lindale house, which has extensive public trail systems along the riverside there in Norwood Flats, the John Bruce house near the Bois d'Esprit complex there. They just built that new dock there. There's the park access, the John Bruce Park, the new footbridge. Whereas at Saint Street, there's no developed public access to the river, so I don't think it's comparable from a river standpoint there. A question about the markings for Saint Street. It mentioned a sun. No, was it sunroom? What was the room referred to there?
The sunroom attribute?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's showing that there's a sunroom off the back of the house for 154 Saint. Is that not the case?
No, there's a screen porch off the back. Yeah, no sunroof, not glassed in or anything like that. It's just a screened-in deck.
Okay.
In terms of the houses themselves, I mean, like I said, they're similar in size of house and of land. I'll give you that. But I mean, if I'm 6'2", 200 pounds, so is Ryan Reynolds, right? We're not saying we don't look the same. We're certainly not worth as much. So we can't just go by size here, right? I think more consideration needs to be given to the quality of the neighborhood here for sure, and the facilities and amenities nearby. You mentioned that the Lindale house was the same neighborhood. I'd argue that it's quite divided from Norwood East to Norwood West. It's divided by St. Mary's Road. Lindale, that area, Norwood Flats, is a little enclave kind of surrounded on 3 sides by water. It's on the Red River, not on the St. River. The average property values, as I mentioned, are much higher on Norwood Flats than where we are. The views, I mean, on these ones, they actually back onto the river. From the Lindale one, you can see the city skyline, you can see the rowing club, the club, the river's there. You can go down to the river to skate, you could have a dock if you wanted to, none of which is possible on the Seine River. In terms of the qualities of the house themselves, I found for them all from when they were listed before, either MLS pictures or videos of it. Some of the features of them, I'd say they're far nicer houses inside as well. The John Bruce one has cathedral ceilings. The Realty video said it has a sunroom on your sheet. It's not marked as such. Theirs is a nice glass one as opposed to the screen porch that we have. The one on Lindale, it's architecturally interesting. There's a lot more to it. Ours is just vinyl siding and a triangle per se. They have a deck overhanging the riverbank. They have a hot tub and stuff. It's kind of a different level of property, I would say. And of course, the one in Oak Forest, like I said, it's so far away. Triple attached garage, estate lot, tall, lots of glass, big floor to ceiling corner windows. Everything looks very high end in it. And again, it has multiple rivers you can skate, boat, etc. on it, as opposed to a very placid Seine River. So that's my thoughts, I guess, on the comparables.
Who's done his questions?
Yeah. Anything further to add, Mr. Kupfer?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Lorando?
No, I think he's covered off everything I wanted to put in on it.
Mr. Sealand?
Just a question under attached garage for comparable number 1. What is the reference built in referred to?
The difference between multiple and built-in? Is that the question?
Yeah.
The built-in garage is typically set, I don't know how to describe it, it's set into the house, and there will typically be house around it on either side and over top. Whereas an attached garage is usually more off the front, like you would picture, like a front driveway or something like that. For functionality speaking, they're both will have access from the house.
Thank you. No further questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I have no questions. If you would like to proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. One thing I'll mention, I guess, just off this talk, one thing when I was forgetting to contrast the properties. The property 154 Saint Street, located where it is, does, especially on days like today with the humidity and the low cloud cover, receive a significant smell from the mushroom farm and haven't identified what it is, but that or the pork plant that's out east of the property there, and I'm quite sure that wouldn't be the case in Headingley. So in terms of my information about this house, so as was noted, the house was purchased in August 2020 by ourselves. Prior to us purchasing it, it would be available for sale for 27 months since it was first put on the market on MLS. It didn't sell during that time, obviously. We had put in an offer for the eventual price that we had put in an offer in the summer of 2019. Eventually it haggled out a price substantially lower than the tax value. The sellers agreed to it. We inspected the property and decided that the property, having reviewed the inspection, wasn't worth that value, even though it was significantly lower than the tax value when we walked away. Then the next year we were still looking for houses. The houses at that time, pandemic, they were inflating, especially for properties such as that, large properties, large houses for people working from home and wanting to have more space, but it still hadn't sold, even though it was priced less than the tax value. So then we put forth the same offer we had eventually theoretically agreed to with the sellers the previous year of $745, because we thought that was the fair price at the time. Clearly they accepted it right away. They didn't have a price, so clearly there was nobody else in the meantime willing to pay $745 or higher. During the process when we were arranging financing for the house, mortgagee commissioned an appraisal of the house. The appraisal came in very close to what we paid, even though it was 3 months later or so during that crazy summer of 2020 with regards to house prices. I mean, I think it's clear that the house price we paid was fair market value. Now, there's, like I said, this is my chance to answer questions, but there was the comment from the assessor about the house being a private sale. I don't know, perhaps the MLS listing had expired at that time, but from our perspective, it was the same as a realtor sale. There was still a sign on the driveway. The offer was made to the realtors. There was no outside relationship between ourselves or the sellers. There was no, bypassing the realtors or independent negotiations between ourselves or anything like that. From our perspective, it was a typical realtor-led deal. So then the question is, I guess, if it was worth that in 2020, then how do we know what it was worth in 2018 when the reference value was based on, right? I mean, the market's gone up significantly since 2018, as we all know. On average, for a two-story house in Winnipeg, the price has gone up 20% in that period of time. So, I mean, if it wasn't worth the assessment value in 2020, it's almost certain that it wasn't worth the assessment value in 2018. I've got some comparables as well beyond just the sale price that we paid. One of them was actually appraised by the appraisal when we bought the house, and it was, we said previously, in 2018 during the sales book period. So it provided a good comparison as to how the markets have changed since then, and it was deemed to be significantly comparable by the appraiser. So I'm not going to question that. And then after that, I went through and found 3 other comparables based on houses similar to what the appraiser had found, and kind of applied the same discounts or premiums when comparing that house to our house, and that's attached to the back package there. Yeah, that's kind of my story. I don't think there's anything else say? I mean, I would say that the comparables I used, even they, when I was going through, I agree with the assessor that it's a tough one to find comparables to, because it's a large house on a large lot in kind of a, a less traditional neighborhood where you find that kind of house, right? So even when I was doing my own comparables, I found houses in Charleswood. I found one in Kingston Road. Neighborhoods that I would say are above this neighborhood, but even then, they were, in my view, far more comparable than the ones that have been presented here by the city. It's almost an inner city property. It's founded by Marion, founded by Archibald, founded by Demiron. It's the school close to us. It closed. Don't have kids or something. I guess that's why we have to go so far. These houses mentioned here, they all sold for less than the assessed value that the city is requesting. I swap for any of these, so then you can put me in touch with the owners. I'd be interested. The average value of the neighborhood, it's just totally different. Even the comparables I chose, I think, are in totally different areas. In the whole Region 9, which is where ours falls under in the city's assessment book, there was, I think, one house that sold for over $700,000 during the sales book period, and it was the one mentioned on Lindale, which I think is totally different for the reasons I mentioned. There was one in the 600s, which is on a street of very nice homes. It looks like the whole area is developed near Fort Crawford, and nothing else in terms of single-family homes in all of Area 9 is over 500,000. So to assess this one at over 800, just blows me away. But that's really the history, the price we paid, the comparables. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions, Mr. Cuthbert?
Can you tell us about the renovation that's being done, the interior renovation?
Sure. So we're early in. There was a space upstairs. It was a wide open space. We're in the process of putting up a wall, putting up a bathroom in there to make another bedroom. It's not complete. It's more here complete.
A full bathroom or a half bathroom?
It will be an ensuite. I guess it will be a full bathroom.
Okay. Yeah. No other questions. Thank you.
You look like you worked hard at buying a property. You seem to spend a lot of time with this one. Did you know what you were buying when you bought it?
Well, I did, I guess. We had the inspection. We had plenty of time to think about it, right? I think it was worth, in 2020 dollars, I think it was worth the price we paid. I don't think it's worth what the city is assessed it for. And I don't think it was worth the price we paid in 2018 prior to the significant market run-up.
So you knew about the smell factor already?
Well, it varies by the day. So I don't think we were there on a day when it was like that. It's an issue some days, but it's definitely not an issue with any of these other comparables.
Where other issues in the area with the crime and?
We came from out of town before we bought the house, so we're less familiar with the city than obviously people who've lived here their whole lives. So perhaps not. It's a pretty area. The crime is relatively low. It's an okay pocket, I guess, but like I say, it's still 4 or 5 times what's quoted in these other comparables.
And your value, you're saying between 660 and 700? Is that correct?
Well, that based on the comparables. That's kind of the range of the comparables I had. Was 665 to there. The midpoint of the variables is 703, I think. If you look at the market run-up as what's happened between 2018 and when we bought it in August 2020, according to that Royal LePage survey that was quoted, we all know the market's gone up. According to that, during that period, the house prices for 2-story places in Winnipeg went up 20%, right? So if you discount the price we paid by that factor, it was worth $620 in 2018. So somewhere in that range, I guess, between 620 and 6 or 703. So that would be the absolute lowest and the absolute highest that I can see there being any justification to value that.
Good.
No questions, Madam Chair.
Just one quick question. When do you anticipate your renovation to be complete?
Well, it's dragging out. It's not in our hands. We've hired it all out. Those all the trades are busy. So I'm working for mid-October now. I guess. I'd say maybe January. I couldn't guess right there. It's a relatively small job for them, and it's they do it when they get to it. So.
Thank you. That was all my questions.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Assessor.
Don't forget your mask.
They'll catch you on the way out.
Yes. Thanks again.
See you, Dan.
Thanks.
We'll move on to 113 Poplarwood Avenue.
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
Dustin Nicholas.
You affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Nicholas.
Morning, guys.
Mr. Kupfer, if you'd like to proceed for us, please.
113 Poplarwood Avenue, rule number 0800262750. It's in the St. George neighborhood area. It's a 1.5-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1954, 1,242 square feet of living area. It does have a full basement with some basement finish, 2 full bathrooms, central air conditioning, and a detached single garage, and a lot size of just over 5,000 square feet. 4 comparables, all in the same area, all 1.5-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1947 and 1951. All have full basements, all have basement finish with the exception of Comp 2. All have between 1 and 2 bathrooms, all have central air conditioning similar to the subject, and all have single detached garages with the exception of Comp number 2 there. Lot sizes are all fairly similar, ranging from a low of 4,481 square feet to a high of 6,247 square feet. So the subject is right in the middle. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables, got quite a spread here, ranging from 258,100 up to 331,100. Or time adjusted sale price per square foot, ranging from a low of $230.45 to a high of $368.86 per square foot. The property was purchased most recently by the current owner in June 2019. However, there was no sales verification changes or any major changes to the assessment. Page 2 of the brief shows our map and the layout of the comparables. They're all a bit further north. Comparables 1, 2, and 3 are all pretty close by, just on the other side of Frederick there, while comparable number 4 is a little bit further off, closer to Fermor. The 2022 assessment for the subject property currently set at $298,000 or $239.94 per square foot, which we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nicholas, did you have any questions of the assessor?
No, that's good. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Laronda?
Which one do you think would be your best comparable looking at the ages?
Well, looking at the the effective ages of the homes, I would say probably comparables between 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 4. Comparable number 3 has had a pretty significant renovations done to it, and I think that's reflected in the sale price that you see there, time adjusted $331,000. It's clearly our highest. Comparable number 2 doesn't have the basement finish for the second bathroom, so I think that one you would have to adjust up for. So comparables number 1 and comparables number 4, probably the closest. However, comparable number 1 is much closer in proximity to the subject than number 4 is. So I would say comparable number 1 is probably the best approximation of value.
Okay. Thank you.
No questions, Madam Chair.
And I have other questions. Mr. Nicholas, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation, please.
Okay, thanks for everyone's time. I'll try and keep this pretty brief. I just want to start off by making a comment on the finished basement status of my house compared to just the comparable we just mentioned there. It's in pretty rough shape. Like the bathroom needs to be completely redone. There's holes in the wall and the ceiling for access to plumbing. And overall, although it says it, I think the assessor had mentioned it was kind of half finished, I believe. That's a good approximation of it. When I bought the home, the majority of the home is undergoing half-done renovations, and they've been kind of poorly done. That's consistent throughout the whole house. That's probably why it was. I paid $247 for it, and it was assessed near $3. It had been on the market a little while too, as well. The biggest thing I wanted to mention is the garage. The detached garage is a teardown. It's kind of rotted away, poorly designed, gravel floor. So it's much more of a liability than it is an asset at this point, or even when I purchased the place. It leaks its water, so all the baseboards to it are all rotted out and everything. The air conditioning unit, I didn't know at the time of purchase, but it's undersized for the home. It fails to keep up to the demands in summertime. I have to run a portable air conditioner in room-specific areas to maintain a good comfort level. The kitchen itself, all the countertops are kind of loose, kind of free-floating, poor shape, kind of cheaply made, along with the cupboards as well. It just kind of fits the theme of the whole house, kind of being in poor condition. It needs a lot of work in a lot of areas. Both bathrooms, both the main floor bathroom and the basement bathroom need to be completely redone. They've kind of got exposed parts of the wall that aren't sealed in. The basement's missing a floating wall to seal in the room entirely. And all the windows in the house need to be redone as well. They're all showing condensation, and from the exterior, you can actually even tell that the finishing isn't on them. A lot of finishing work in the house needs to be done as well. I think that's pretty much all I really had to say. Basically, I paid quite a bit less, right, than what was assessed for, and it was on the market for a while, and needs a heck of a lot of work to make it upwards to maybe $300,000, which would be assessed at. That's in my opinion. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Rhonda.
What number were you looking for again?
I purchased the house for $247, I believe, $500 in 2019. That wasn't without what I found out about the garage and the AC unit, etc. But yeah, basically purchase price maybe.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have any quotations to support the cost of the renovations?
No, unfortunately, that would have been probably good for my case, but I don't have the money for the renovations right now anyway, so I didn't go ahead and keep working on that.
Thank you. No questions, no further questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So you mentioned that the garage is rotten, I believe you used the word.
Yep.
The flooring, etc. So do you use the garage?
It's storage for materials that don't mind squirrels and birds getting to, and it's minimally used for storage. it probably in the next few years has to get taken down.
And you mentioned this home was on the market for a period of time, and do you know what that period of time is?
I have to, no, sorry, I don't have that right on me. I know it was at least 3 weeks. That's all I can say for certain.
And you said when you purchased the home, there was renovations going on in the house that were not completed?
Yeah, like finishing renovations. They had replaced, I guess, tried to replace a window, and there was exposed insulation on it. It'd be just like someone just learning how to do finishing and start a whole bunch of stuff and kind of leave it. Like all the trims off, there's paint kind of and drywall putty everywhere, and missing light fixtures like coverings and all that kind of stuff. No major renovations, I should say. Sorry, but just not finished.
And you yourself haven't done any major renovations since you've moved into the home?
Nothing yet. No, it's on the list to do.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming this morning. We appreciate your time.
So appreciate yours. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
We're going to move on to 311 Kingston Crescent.
Very similar to my address, I apologize.
Oh,
Yes.
Coming back now. Does he hear you?
Hello, Mr. Applicant. Please state your full name.
My name is Chris Dalope.
And you affirm the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Dalope.
Good morning.
We'll be starting off with the assessor, Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to begin for us. Thank you.
Number 311 Kingston Crescent, roll number 0800-119400. That's in the Kingston Crescent neighborhood area. It's a two-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1930 with an effective age of 1980. Living area 2,750 square feet, a full basement with basement finish, 4 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a built-in garage. A lot size of just over 9,000 square feet with both a park and a Red River adjacent influence. Comparables 1 through 4, actually 2 through 4 in the Kingston Crescent. Well, technically number 1 is in the Elm Park area. They're all two-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1939 and 1999. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,805 square feet to a high of 2,348 square feet. Comparables 2 and 4 have full basements, while comparables 1 and 3 have a bit smaller basements. However, they do all have some basement finish. Between 2 and 4 bathrooms, all have central air. All have at least 1 fireplace with the exception of comp 2. And all have an attached garage. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables range from a low of 6,675 square feet to a high of 16,634 square feet. All have a Red River adjacent influence. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 565,100 to a high of 882,900. Our time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $265.72 to a high of $400.41. The map on page 2 here, I'll give you a good idea of the layout. So you can see comparable number 1, it's in a different area. It's on the other side of Dunkirk there, but it is still a river property on Kingston Row. The 2022 assessment for the property is currently set at $765,000 or $278.18 per square foot, which we'll be recommending today. The current owner purchased the property, I believe it was in the fall of 2020. The property was on MLS, however, it was a court-ordered sale, so it was sold in as its condition. I don't think somebody was living in the home at the time of the sale. But it was a public listing. But yeah, so we'll be recommending the value of $765,000 today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jalope, do you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
No.
No? Okay. Mr. Laurando?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Seaman?
No questions, Madam Chair.
Mr. Kupfer, I just have one question. In regards to your brief, you mentioned that the attached garage is built in. I have never seen that terminology. Can you just explain that briefly?
Yeah, it essentially just means that the garage is set back into the house so that it's not protruding out front in any way. So in this case, it's got a driveway like you would expect. You drive up to the garage. However, the garage is set back in a way so that the entire house is either on the same level or even slightly in front of the garage. So the garage isn't protruding out front like you would typically see in an attached double garage. Okay. And then it looks like there's a full second story above the garage as well.
Okay. Thank you. Jalope, if you'd like to proceed then with your presentation.
Yeah, so I purchased this property September 1. We moved in September 1, 2020. That's last year. So we bought it at $504,000. And I feel that it's over-assessed because compared to the other properties in our neighborhood, they're paying like 500 to 6. The assessed value of their properties is around 500 to 600,000, and I think the property has depreciated since it has been a rental property. I think the previous owner commissioned somebody to do renovations while having a free rental, and I think he used prefabricated the materials in the house. It's not appropriate for that value, that 765,000. And aside from that, I have leakage in the in the garage and in the one of the rooms. Sorry for the cat, my cat.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, any questions?
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Laurando?
No questions.
Mr. Seaman?
No questions, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Mr. Jalope, you're saying that this property was rented out by the previous owner?
Yeah, it was a rental property. Nobody, it was not been, no one has, what do you call this, stayed here. It's like it was a rental property according to my neighbors here. And I think the previous owner commissioned someone to renovate it in exchange of free rent. But what the one who stayed here, who did the renovation, the one who rented it, used the prefabricated materials in the kitchen and in the washroom as well, all the washrooms. So it's like outdated materials that he used, like recycled materials. So it's not really fit for a property that's like $500,000 price. So no one wants to buy it before. That's why when it was in a sale, it took like more than a year, like I think 1.5 year, because it doesn't really fit the value of the property. Aside from the property tax is so high, so it doesn't really go in on sale until we decided to buy it last year.
Okay. So when you viewed the property, it was vacant?
Yeah, it was vacant. They said it was vacant for more than 1.5 years. It was for sale for more than a year already. It was in the listings, but nobody wants to buy it because they said it's very expensive. Aside from the property tax is so high.
And so what is your request this morning in terms of your assessment value then?
I'm requesting if you could reduce the property tax. I mean the assessed value of the property, so it will fit the property itself. Because the market value is I don't think if I sell it, it will go up as 550,000. I don't think someone will buy at that price with the condition of the house and how it was renovated by the previous renter.
Okay, and so are you currently living in this house?
Yes, I'm here already for a year, for 1 year.
And have you done any renovations to the house?
Not yet.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you also for your time and for the opportunity to have you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we can go now.
Sure, one very quick second.
Yes, take your time.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Applicant, please state your full name.
It's Thomas Roos, EDS.
And you affirm the evidence about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just before we get started, I wanted to check. So we emailed in a PDF, and the comparables that I attached to that PDF were in the long format of the MLS website. What it doesn't contain is the sale date for the comparables in that PDF. So I printed a single sheet for each of those properties based on the same MLS website, just a different format for the printing that has the date of sale. I don't know if it's required or if I can just say it, or if you can
Verbally state it, sure.
Okay, and then I do have it here if it's required.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I had is in response, I did get the disclosure from the city sister. And so I have printouts that have a little bit more information about those particular properties.
Yeah, you can address that.
Okay, I'll address them. And if required, I have the documents if you need them.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I will.
No, he is listed on the owner. If you go back to the first agenda item,
Yeah, I really apologize. My wife was going to
it's in your agenda
Okay.
on the item page.
Didn't look out.
I drew the
That's the assessor's
straw.
page.
You're the long one of the show.
Good, I just wanted to make sure. Okay, so we are going to hear 331 Kingston Crescent. And Mr. Kupfer, if you'd like to start us off, please.
Number 331 Kingston Crescent, roll number 0800118900. Of course, in the Kingston Crescent neighborhood area. This is a 1 3/4 story, built in a single family dwelling, built in 1927. an effective age of 1987, living area of 2,021 square feet, full part area basement, no basement finish, and only one bathroom in this house. It does not have central air. It does have one fireplace, according to our records, and a detached single garage. Lot size of just over 9,000 square feet, and is Red River adjacent. For comparables, all close by in that Kingston Crescent Park area. They're 1.5, 1 3/4, or 2-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1927 and 1940, all with some effective age applied, so they've all seen some level of upgrades. Comparables 1 through 3 all have some basement finish, while comparable number 4 does not, similar to the subject. All 4 comparables and the majority of the houses that I looked at, they all have at least 2 bathrooms. So I wasn't able to find any comps that also had 1 bathroom, similar to the subject. All have air conditioning, all the subject does not. All have at least 1 fireplace, with the exception of comparable number 4, and all have a garage, although it is different, as you can see, either attached or detached. All 4 comparables are also Red River adjacent, similar to the subject, with lot sizes ranging from a low of 6,577 square feet to a high of 7,250 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of 451,900 to a high of 676,300, where a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $233.90 to a high of $313.07 per square foot. Page 2 of the brief will show you the layout of the 4 comparables relative to the subject property. Again, they are all river adjacent properties. Comparables 2 and 3 are over on the other side of Dunkirk, while comparables number 1 and 4 are similar to the subject on the actual Kingston Crescent on that point there. The subject property was purchased most recently in February of 2021 by the current owner. It was a public sale on MLS, 46 days on the market, so it appeared to be a good sale. There was no major adjustment or sales verification changes. So that 606,000 was the assessment before the purchase and remained the same after. And it's the number that we'll be recommending today, 606,000 or $299.85 per square foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions of the assessor?
I just have a couple. Sir, just
I gotta stop for a second. I probably know too much about this property to be dealing with. Let's put it that way. I better not hear this one. I think you're gonna have to hear it, 2 of you.
okay.
Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Thank you for
Chloe,
using
guys,
yourself.
I'll be outside. Sorry about that. I should have read the address better.
No, it's all good. So, sir, let me know if you can't hear me.
I can hear you just fine.
When you do look at the comparables, is the information contained in the residential comparable sales report the information you used, or is there other information that you used?
So our assessed values, there is more information that goes into deriving the assessed values than what's shown on the sales report. But the majority of it is here, yeah.
So some of that information would be the number of bedrooms. Did you have access to that information?
Yeah, number of bedrooms is something that we track. However, it's not something we use to assign value.
Okay. As well, the age and type of heating system. Is that something that you use?
It is, yeah. So we know within our system if it's forced air or if it's a boiler or if it's electric baseboard. But again, that's not displayed on the comparable sales report. That's correct.
And so you have that it's a boiler or forced air. Do you have the age of the boiler?
No, however, that would be reflected in the effective age of the home. If you were to redo the heating system, the electrical system, that sort of thing, there would be an increase to the effective year builds of the property.
And if you don't replace an old boiler, the Adjusted, did you call it the adjusted?
The effective age.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, right. Let me just find that on this sheet here. No, I saw it. I just don't see it now.
Sorry, the effective year built is shown just underneath the year built. So that's a reflection.
Oh,
That's our reflection of essentially the level of upgrades and the level of components of the house that have been replaced with newer parts.
So you could have an effective year built of 1987, but still have the original heating system.
That's correct. So it stands to reason that if the boiler was also replaced, then the effective age would also be bumped up slightly higher than where it is.
And then that effective year built is based on then renovations done since the house is built.
That's correct.
What information do you have about when the renovations were done?
I don't believe we have any in-person inspection here. Of course, we have the public sales listing from when you purchased the house. And then it looks like the previous sale before that would have been in 2008. So it would be primarily based off of those. I don't see any major permit work or anything that was pulled. So I would suggest that the changes that were made were based primarily off of those listings.
Renovations that would have been done prior to 2008.
Potentially, yes. I'm not sure exactly the year when the renovations were done.
I'm going to suggest they were done in 96 or 97. Is that correct? What you have?
Yeah, it could be. It mentions in the remodels that an addition was done. And typically when an addition is done, that's also something that factors into an increase in the effective year, effective age. So if you're telling me that was done in the 90s, I believe that.
That sounds correct. And then you don't see any renovations done between the 2008 sale and the 2020 sale, do you? I'm going to suggest to you there weren't any, but I've let you take a look.
Okay, let me just have a quick look here. From what I can see, there's only 10 photos with the older listing here, but it looks like at least the kitchen and the flooring appears to be the same. I can say that much at least.
My information is that the kitchen, bathroom, and addition were all done in 97. Would that make sense to you?
Yeah, that would make sense to me based on what I can see, the age and the model. I would agree with that.
Number of bathrooms has an effect on the house sale, does it not?
It does.
One bathroom is not considered desirable. Do you agree with that statement?
I would agree.
2 bathrooms or more is much more desirable.
Yeah, and more common for houses in this area and of this size, for sure.
Would you agree that that's because when a family lives in there, it's not, if it's a large enough family, it's not very effective to have only 1 bathroom?
Yeah, generally over 2,000 square feet, you would expect to have at least 2 bathrooms or 2.5 bathrooms.
Right, and then that would make the house less desirable for people with a family.
Agreed.
I don't know how the rules in this hearing work, and if there are rules of evidence and what I need to get in or what I've already put in, or if these documents given in are exhibits. So I just want to be clear that I'm not missing anything before I stop questioning him. Is his assessed sheet an exhibit that is already evidence, or does the sheet not count only what he says counts?
This sheet has already been edited.
Perfect, okay.
We have it.
Perfect, I'm just making sure, like I don't, sometimes the rules can be that the sheet isn't evidence, only what he says is evidence, and I want to make not mix too often.
That's fine. And he's giving verbal evidence.
Perfect, okay. I guess my final question is, these riverfront properties in these neighborhoods are a little bit harder to assess the value than, say, these non-river adjacent properties. Do you agree with that as a statement?
The pool of comparable sales is obviously smaller because there are just fewer river adjacent properties in general. But in this instance, I think we have a pretty good spread here from the low end to the high end of all river adjacent properties. So I think we found 4 decent ones here.
So you don't agree that river adjacent properties are harder to assess than non-river adjacent?
So long as you have an adequate sample size of other sales that are also river adjacent, then no, it's not any more difficult or easy. But if, for example, that sample size of comparables was much smaller because there weren't as many river properties that sold, then that would make it more difficult.
And then 4 comparables is the number that you use, correct?
That's generally what we provide, yes.
I just want to have one quick moment, I apologize. Well, the final thing I'll talk about is comparing 2-bedroom houses to 3-bedroom houses. 3-bedroom houses are in the higher price categories are generally more desirable than a 2-bedroom house. Is that correct?
I would say that's debatable. Our assessment model won't attribute any additional value for a 3rd or a 4th bedroom, for example. It's primarily derived based on the square footage, with the idea being if you have, say, 2,000 square foot homes, one of them is a 2-bedroom and one of them is a 3-bedroom, that means that one that only has 2 bedrooms, that other size isn't lost anywhere. It's being used to give you a bigger kitchen or a bigger dining room or a bigger family room or something else. So it wouldn't necessarily detract from the value, having 2 bedrooms opposed to 3 bedrooms or opposed to 4 bedrooms, so long as the rest of that space and functionality was being used well, I would say.
So all things being equal, other than the number of bedrooms, the 3-bedroom and 2-bedroom, your answer is that that's the same?
All else being equal, yes, I would say so. There's no shortage of 3-bedroom houses. So, for example, if you had a family with 3 kids and you wanted one, you're not forced to buy a home that only has 2 bedrooms and do some sort of renovation to it. I think somebody who's buying a 2-bedroom home would do it because it suits their needs. So I wouldn't attribute any significant change to that.
Okay. Those are my questions.
No questions, Madam Chair?
And I have no questions at this time, so we will proceed with the presentation.
Sure. My understanding of how this works is we figure out the current state of the house, then we look at comparables, and we try to figure out what this house would have sold for April 1st, 2018, based on its current state and based on comparables in the area. So I'll start with the current state. I gave in a PDF that had some photos. They were numbered. We'll get to them now. I had some statements about the house to make it easier in there, but I'll just say them now. This house has no finished basement. I will note in the comparable section that those other ones do. This is not a basement that can probably be finished, I would say. Our house has no central air conditioning. The comparables all have central air, I will note. I'm going to bring up stuff about the state of repair, and I do know that they're classified in certain ways. Say some are considered upkeep, whereas others are considered given more weight. But what I'm trying to get at is the general state of disrepair is a factor when people go to purchase a house, and what purchase price that they choose to offer you will be based somewhat on the state of disrepair or repair in that home. And so a cumulative state of disrepair, it means more money to fix it. It also can lead to uncertainty about the previous owner's maintenance of the house. And our information, now this is through a third party, our neighbor, is that our house sat empty for quite a while and the previous owner didn't live there. We can tell that the people who owned it prior to the previous owner, they're the ones who did all of the renovations, kept the house in very good condition, and then it looks to me like maintenance was done in the time between 2008 and when we purchased the house. And that's why the pictures are all in there. So I numbered the pictures, one, I think, to 29. And as I go through there's, I won't belabor it, but there's a, broken front door and storm doors rotting. It has, the fireplace has been condemned. We have a wet recommended inspection checklist from Wood Energy Technology Transfer Inc., which is in the PDF, and it says that that the chimney would have to be extended for that to be permitted to be used, and then also the state of the stove is in disrepair. The boiler is nearly 100 years old. It will need to be replaced. We've had it maintained this year. We were given warnings about not to wait until the winter because we may not be able to get a boiler in the winter. We don't have a quote for that. I was told it was approximately $20,000. That is because the boiler has asbestos insulation around it, which increases the cost of removing the boiler. As I understand it, the pictures of the boiler, it's just about 5 feet tall. It's and about 5 feet deep. It's very, very large. There was a leak there's a flat roof on it. There's a quote about the repair to that roof, which is $5,900. That roof leaked and damaged the floor and the ceiling of the part of the house, as well as in part of the living room. All of the windows in the house need repairing. That goes to the state of disrepair. Every single one is rotten and needs to be replaced. I found this in March. It was when the melt occurred. There was water in the basement of one of the rooms. I don't and can't confirm where that water came from. The melt was over. I mopped up the water, and there's not been water there since. The only place I can see that it could come from is from the melt. There were no other obvious leaks, but I don't want to come here and say that I know that for sure, given that it happened only once and I wasn't able to find the source. I can say I tried to rule out any other source of water. That is a photo that we've submitted. It's got rotten soffits and fascia and a rusty deck roof, a non-functional barbecue outside. That all goes to the general state of disrepair. That's that no repairs were done. I don't think it's since 2008. The electrical panel is old. And then the garage, while still standing, was built against a dike. There's a dike along this part of the property, and the dike, there should have been a retaining wall there, and instead the dike is just against the garage, and that wall and the base of the frame and the frame of the wall of the garage is rotting. We use the garage for our vehicle now. I've heard you ask this question, so I'll tell you now. We use it for our vehicle. It is seemingly dry, other than the wall that is against the retaining, the walls against the dike. And so at some point that'll need to be replaced, but I'm not saying it's a condemned at this point. It's just an issue. And I think an issue that someone purchasing the house would take note of before deciding what to offer. When I go through the comparables, I supplied a number of comparables. They're all on Kingston Crescent or Kingston Row. I can go through them one at a time. I do have a paper, if it's easier to look at a paper copy. I do have single page paper copies of these, realizing that this 100-page PDF that I gave you is a little bit unwieldy. It's not, they are identical. There's a different layout of printout, like I said, but they're the identical properties from the same website. I don't know if that'd be helpful to have now, or I'll just go through them.
It's your turn.
Sorry,
Oh, yeah, I don't want to make the idea here is not to make a big hassle or anything. And the information is contained within the PDF. So it's only for ease of use, and I don't even know that it needs to be kept. It has no other information on it other than the sale date, which I was going to submit orally anyway. So it's up to you. I just don't want to make a hassle.
So if you just want to present it or.
Okay. I'll go through them. First, I'll just go through the comparables. The first one, these are on the residential comparable sales report by the city assessor. I look at comparable number 1. I'll just note that that's a 3-bedroom home with a built-in garage. Sorry, a 4-bedroom home with a built-in garage with 3 bathrooms and a finished basement. My house is a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, single detached garage, no finished basement. I look at comparable number 2. That is a 3-bedroom home, 4 bathrooms, oversized single garage.
Where does it show the square footage on your comparables here?
Sorry?
Where does it show the square footage of the homes of your comparables?
I'm going through your comparables right now.
Okay.
And if you don't see it there, then what I'll do is I will take a recess and I'll have these ones scanned in. That'll help you. So the comparable number 2, like I said, is 3 bedrooms, has an oversized garage, 4 bathrooms, and a finished basement. And again, I'll just reiterate, 1 bathroom, 2 bedrooms, no finished basement, and a detached garage. Comparable number 3 is a 5-bedroom home, has 3 bathrooms, a finished basement. I won't continuously compare to mine, but, and then number 4 is that's 11 Dunkirk Place, comparable number 4. That's a 3-bedroom home, has 3 bathrooms. It does not have a finished basement. So it's a little more similar to mine in that way. However, 2 more bathrooms and 1 more bedroom. I'll move on to my comparables, and maybe now is a good time to scan in these documents to make sure that living space is contained.
Okay, we're just going to take a 5-minute recess here then.
I apologize. Okay, make it complicated. And I'll give you 2 more minutes.
If you can just, sorry, the secretary will come. And I would like to call this hearing back to order. And Mr. Reese, I believe we left off with you.
Yes, I've been informed, and we're on the record, that any comparable house sale after April 1, 2018 is not helpful for us to determine the house price. I understand it's the rule and I accept it. I will say logically it still is helpful, but I'm not going to now reference it. I'm going to start though, I guess, with the only one that I have that isn't after April 1st, and that's 349 Kingston Crescent. I'll note that that is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. You can see that it says it's been fully renovated inside, new kitchen, all new carpets, floors refinished, central air, fully finished basement. I will note that my house has 2 bedrooms instead of 3, 1 bathroom instead of 3, not fully renovated inside, does not have a new kitchen, does not have all new carpets, it does not have floors refinished, does not have central air, it does not have a fully finished basement. So the price for that house is $529,000, far below the assessed value of $331,000. When I do the comparison of those plus the other 4, comparable 1, comparable 2, comparable 3, comparable 4, it's clear that these other houses are superior. The finished basement makes a big difference. If you look at the 3 comparisons plus the 349 Kingston Crescent, we look comparable 1, 2, 3, and 349 Kingston Crescent, you'll note they all have finished basements. They all have more than 1 bathroom. The only comparable that does not have a finished basement is 11 Dunkirk, comparable number 4. That assessed value is $440,000. My view, 163 and if these are the comparables you are going off, given it's the evidence of the hearing, I would imagine no other comparables are admissible. Then comparable 1, comparable 2, and comparable 3 of the residential comparable sales report are not similar enough. They have factors that increase their value significantly. When you look at 349, Kingston Crescent in my materials, you'll see also there it has a finished basement, more bedrooms and more bathrooms, fully renovated. And that's 529. When I look at the most useful comparisons, it looks to me that 11 Dunkirk Place is the most similar to my place at 440, 227.74 a square foot, 451.9 or 233.90 a square foot time adjusted sale price. All of the other ones have such significant improvements over my house that they can't be said to be comparable. Someone who is looking for these houses is not the same person who would look for my house, and certainly seeing these houses and then mine would not be prepared to pay more for mine than these ones. In fact, it would be less. So I can just conclude, I guess, that given that my house does not have central air, it has only 1 bathroom, it has only 2 bedrooms, it is in a state of disrepair, with the last renovations being in 96 or 97. It has a detached, rotting single garage. It does not have central air. It does not have a finished basement. My view is that 11 Dunkirk Place, which is also on the river, is the closest and most useful assessed value. However, I agree that my place is probably worth more than 11 Dunkirk Place. So I think that my value of my house is $480,000 as of April 1st, 2018, given its state of repair today. I can tell you I've done no renovations. I fixed a dishwasher, and I believe that is all of the maintenance that I've done. It wasn't just done myself, which are like very minor, reattaching things, coat hooks, these sorts of things. I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
It's just me.
What are your plans for renovations and fixing these issues?
So we have to, there's no renovations. We have to bring the house up to so that it's properly maintained house. At this point, it's leaking and there's problems like that. And that's based just on budget. And I will do them as fast as I can. I have no. So I would imagine in the next 5 years, the first thing that has to be done is the roof, the flat roof that is leaking. That's a $5,900 repair. That probably can't get done this winter. I would be a bit late for it, and I don't have the budget for it. So I'd say likely in the spring we'll start with that flat roof, and then move on to whatever's the thing that's causing the most damage next, trying to get the house to be maintained. We don't have any actual renovation plans at this point.
Do you have any quotes for anything past roof?
No, that's the one that we could see it was leaking, so we had to go get that quote right away because we know that had to be done right away. There are no, the rest of it has to do with just the proper maintenance. So we're just doing it as fast as we can. So no, I just have that, and then I have the quote about the fireplace or the fire stove being down to it's in the disclosure. It's the WET recommended inspection checklist. It's from Wood Energy Technology Transfer. It just says that we can't use the fireplace because the roof is not high enough. Or not, sorry, the chimney is not tall enough. Those are the quotes that we have.
Thank you. No further questions from the chair.
Sorry, just back to the fireplace. Is that an original fireplace, I'm assuming?
I think I'm not speaking for us. So there's an original fireplace. That's just a condemned box. There's no fire can be had in it. And then there's a wood burning stove that was done in those 1997 renovations. It's the wood burning stove where the chimney is not tall enough. In theory, that would work if we replace the chimney, and there's some maintenance on the inside. In theory, that would work if we did that. The other one, however, is we'd have to, I guess, replace the whole thing. I don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And sorry, just back to the original fireplace. Is it an original fireplace?
Yes, the condemned one.
And why is it condemned?
I don't know. We were just informed of that. It appears to be plugged right at the inside, and there's nothing in it. It's just an empty, clean brick box, and it's sealed at the top. And we were told when we moved in that it was not to be used. We didn't have anybody come look at it or do anything. It hasn't apparently been used at all for however long. This is all hearsay. I don't know.
Okay. And the age of your windows in the home?
They appear to have been done during the 1997. Some of them done during the 1997 renovation. And it's really hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. The upstairs ones looks like they were done at the same time, and they're all about the same level of rot. And so I'm guessing 97, but maybe before that. We gave an example in the photos just to give an example of what they look like.
And you have not replaced the boiler?
No, the boiler's just sitting there.
And you purchased this home in February of 21?
Our possession date was February 2021. My understanding was that it was on the market for 6 months.
Just a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Just to confirm, you had an inspection performed on the house?
Yes.
Prior to purchase?
Yeah, we did. We were aware when we bought it. I believe we overpaid, but we also wanted it, so we were willing, which means we didn't overpay. But we knew the state of disrepair, like we knew it was the investment part of because of the state of disrepair. Our initial investments in the house weren't going to be returned on because we had to bring it up to like bring it up to standard, bring it up to a good standard. So it's not in the state of disrepair. So we just accepted that we paid more than we probably could have in this, but we thought it was worth it, so we did it.
And what was your purchase price?
$555,500, I think. And I think Mr. Assessor might be able to. I'm just not sure about the $500.
That's fine. Okay, and today you're looking for an assessment value of $480,000?
Yeah, I did that. My preference would be even lower. When I looked at the comparables, my view was that in taking into account those things that I've discussed, that 480 was the
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming to us.
Thank you. Excellent.
You too, Joy.
Mr. Cuthbert?
That's all for today.
I thank you for your time.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
Always a pleasure. We have heard all the items scheduled this morning, and this hearing is now adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Really appreciate your time. Have a great day.